Today's scripture lesson is from Isaiah 11, 1-9, from the Message by Eugene Peterson. A green shoot will spout from Jesse's stump. From his roots, a budding branch. The life-giving Spirit of God will hover over him, the Spirit that brings wisdom and understanding, the Spirit that gives direction and builds strength, the Spirit that instills knowledge and fear of God. Fear of God will be all his joy and delight. He won't judge by appearances, won't decide on the basis of hearsay. He'll judge the needy by what is right, render decisions on earth's poor with justice. His words will bring everyone to awed attention. A mere breath from his lips will topple the wicked. Each morning he'll pull on sturdy work clothes and boots and build righteousness and faithfulness in the Lord. The wolf will romp with the lamb, the leopard sleep with the kid. Calf and lion will eat from the same trough, and a little child will lead them. Cow and bear will graze the same pasture. Their calves and cubs grow up together, and the lion eats straw like the ox. The nursing child will crawl over rattlesnake dens. The toddler stick his hand down the hole of a serpent. Neither animal nor human will hurt or kill on my holy mountain. The whole earth will be brimming with knowing God alive, a living knowledge of God, ocean deep, ocean wide. The word of the Lord.
Dear friends, what strange images presented by Prophet Isaiah to us. Almost we can call it a crazy biological utopia. I chatted with our kids about that stump, and I mentioned that it is possible, but not that regular. All that stump producing new branches and even fruits. And then even more, wolf dwelling with lamb, lion and cattle eating straw. Church was right to see it as a messianic prophecy, a time of Messiah. But church was wrong to turn it into a pie in the sky or distant second coming, which is ever in the future. So today we will be speaking about dendrology, that's the science of trees, biblical trees, so biblical dendrology, about zoology or ethology, that is about animal behavior. And mainly, and interspersed in between that, would be how it all relates to us today in our current living. And we start with dendrology, with that tree metaphor. Isaiah speaks about the stump of Jesse. I actually know it better by its Hebrew version of that name, and it's Yishai. I don't know how it made and morphed into Jesse in English, don't ask me, but that's the way. So I'll continue talking about Jesse for your sake. Of course, here is Isaiah does not speak about any tree called Jesse. Sometimes we call animals and some people call trees names. No, he speaks about the genealogical tree of King of Judea or Judah. The royal Judean genealogy tree was cut down and was reduced to a stump. You need to understand that this Jesse is or was legendary forefather or father of King David. And that tree has been cut down and is now a dead stump. That happens to royal families. Their trees lose branches. Their branches die out. They declare the pragmatic sanction to allow ascent of female monarchs like Maria Theresa from my old homeland in Central Europe, Austro-Hungarians or Habsburgs. In Hebrew and Greek Bible, there is also some very creative genealogies of Davidic Davidic family, to provide royal legitimacy, pretending that, they come one from the other. If you read the Bible, you will get that kind of impression. If you read a little closer, you will discover that there are discrepancies there. But please note, this prophetic desire is for a new dynastic branch shooting from the old stump. This prophetic hope is not an self-serving royal propaganda, nor is Isaiah paid by any king or anyone being in cahoots with a new pretender of the throne. He expresses hope of a new king after a series of bitter disappointments and tragedies. It really felt like genealogy of Jesse was just a dead stump. He literally hoped for a new branch, and we can translate it for ourselves. He hoped for a new branch of government. And he tells us why he so long for that new branch of government. That is the divine dream, how God desires the government to be. And let me read and occasionally comment on that. So this new branch should be the conduit of the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of Yahweh, of the Lord. And dear friends, here I have to make a small excursion about the fear of the Lord. This is not the fear very often children are endued in the churches, nor for any subjects to fear their lords, nor for little people. In the Bible, it is reserved for the kings. This fear of the Lord is reserved predominantly for kings and judges and so on, people in power. Not a tool to make powerless subjects even more fearful than they already are and more obedient. The fear of the Lord in the Bible is to make their rulers, the people with power, to be just. So let me continue. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decide by what his ears hear. But with righteousness he shall judge. Here you need to understand that judge here means defend the poor, and give fair ruling for the meek of the earth. His words, like royal scepter, will command respect. Even his whisper will wipe out the wicked. We don't live any longer in a monarchy, but even in our democratic system, with divided branches of government, this powerful prophetic vision still keeps, I would claim, its sharp edge. There are still powerful forces in our society who see the political power as a tool for their own enrichment, for their own glorification, for building up their own personal power, as a tool for oppression. There are still in our society the strong political powers who rule or want to rule by eyes and ears. We now call it populism, to rule by ears and eyes. And in society it is like an acid destroying, like selfish acid destroying the society and its cohesion. Those forces rule or want to rule to benefit the rich and powerful and well-connected. In our time, it is called ideology of the small government. Tax cuts for the super rich and cuts of programs which can lift up the poor. For instance, defunding the public mental health, or fighting forgiveness of education debt and making education more accessible through that. Pretending to be for life while condemning countless families to life in misery and destitution. Oh, this 1,000-year-old prophecy of a new, fresh branch of Jesse. This divine prophecy can still speak powerfully to us now. And the prophecy continues with a vision of the world in harmony. Wolves with lambs, leopards with goats, cattle and lions eating straw, cows and bears grazing together, and all of that being led by a little child. And as strange as it might sound, this is again about the government and its role. Because the ancient kings were called shepherds and were tasked with harmony not only among the people, but also within the nature. I talked about it in more detail in our Friday message, which is on YouTube, or you can find it in your mailbox. And it goes all the way to creation stories. But let us now speak about zoology and dangers of the social Darwinism here. And here I need to say, dear friends, don't trust TV nature documentaries. Especially American ones, I'm sorry to say. They love action. TV is about action, and so they love action and present the world as a wild and vicious place. Eat or be eaten, kill or be killed. I know that hunting scenes make for a dramatic and attention-grabbing films or documentaries. But for instance, lions, unlike humans, for that sake, hunt only when they definitely need to. They don't hunt for pleasure. Most of that time of the life of lions, they just, like your domesticated cats, behave. They sleep, they rest, or they play, surrounded with their potential game. You know, you don't see it that often because, again, it is not that dramatic, but you can see lions laying, sleeping, and zebras romping around on pictures. But this, again, does not make interesting TV. Nature is much less eat or be eaten than we might think. That's my point here. And here we need to also talk about what I mentioned about Darwinism, or more precisely what I would call pseudo-Darwinism. You know, we celebrate Evolution Sunday every February because on one side we have in our society creationists and intelligent design pseudoscience, anti-science religious nuts. But on the other side, in our society, and almost from the time of Charles Darwin, there is this danger of pseudo-Darwinism mixed with social Darwinism. What I mean by that, that those principles of the nature are brought into society, teaching that self-interest and egotism is the organizing principle of the world. And, you know, it is a vicious world out there. Kill or be killed. Eat or be eaten. Just translated into the society, to mostly capitalistic, wild society. Natural selection and survival of the fittest does not mean, in true biology, does not mean kill or be killed. Survival of the fittest is the survival of those who best fit in the given habitat. Those who best fit in the natural environment in which then they can thrive, side by side and together with some competition, but often cooperation with other creatures around. Best strategy for survival is not bloody, even deadly competition, but often cooperation. Otherwise, dear friends, the entire world will be populated only by a single-cell life, and it is not. Organisms cooperate with other organisms and the same or different species. And even our bodies are such cooperation. And we can take it even further on the level of individual cells. Individual cells are composed of what originally were independent organelles. Do I pronounce it correctly, organelles? You know, like mitochondria are supposed to be like intruder or helper from outside. Don't believe pseudo-Darwinism and its ideology of kill or be killed. Don't believe its political transmutation in social Darwinism. That is the delusion of survival of the strongest and the richest. And that is the divine reminder and prophetic message of nature in harmony for us. Of course, Isaiah did not know all of that, but I'm pretty close to sure that he had intuition about something. It is the divine rejection of the life as a zero-sum game. That is what this passage is about. It is rejection to perceive life as a zero-sum game. Would you understand what means zero-sum game? Oh, some are saying no. So zero-sum game is that here I have a pile of something, and either Christine has it or I have it. There is no way in between. Like I have an orange, and either I have orange or Christine has orange. It's a marvelous example. But the life very often is not like that. Because I might give Christine orange if she gives me a peel back, because I am a baker who can use that peel to season my baked goods, for instance. And that is non-zero-sum game. That Christine can have orange and I can have my part of orange as well. Social and natural life is always, or very close to always, non-zero-sum game. We all share burden and we all share benefits. Different parts of it. Small fungi or insects are as important and possibly more than elegant cheetahs in the balance of nature. In nature and in society, we need each other. World needs skilled and happy and well-rewarded, well-paid cooks, bakers, electricians, plumbers, train engineers. Did not we learn that during the COVID time? How thankful we were, of course, for doctors and nurses, but also for and grocery clerks and plumbers who came to fix the leaking pipe, or train engineers in subway, drivers who were, if we needed to take the subway, they were there. We cannot be all just bankers and hedge fund managers or political senators. We need each other in all perplexing diversity and complex amazement. That is God's prophetic wake-up call to our branches of government, but frankly to all of us. And it is also an hopeful assurance, quite apropos, and current vision and invitation to the world in harmony, where we need one another and can live in symbiosis, or symbiosis, hopefully that's pronounced so that simply together.